Are you feeling like some new force is taking over bigger than you can control? Are you aware that you are in the midst of a huge transition and that no matter how you scramble around in your head to look for that old familiar sense of I got it all under control, or at least I think I understand it enough, has just gone out the window? Well, welcome to the new Earth's birth. That is what is happening as we move from a 3D world, third dimension, which I've been sharing in this series lately, and I'll elaborate on a little more, to the fifth dimension, which also is known as New Earth. So, the third dimension, which we're leaving, and I am sure you're in it and leaving, is that point of view and energetic perception and paradigm, which means point of view, understanding that I'm just a physical body, I'm just matter. All that matters is physical matter, and there's nothing more. And it's really a struggle for my physical matter not being interrupted or intruded upon by yours. So everybody struggles, fights, points fingers. It's melee and a mess. And in a 3D world, the earth itself has been perceived as only some physical thing, not some living, conscious being, divine and holy being, but just something we can use that for our own personal consumption. And all of that is absolutely ending. There's no denying it. Just look at the news, the horrific earth changes, the fact that the earth is sizzling, and the fires and the floods and all of that is because the earth is purging the consciousness that put us in this position. So with the new earth birth, we go through what is called, and where we are right now is called transition. Some of you may not have been through this, others may have been, but we've all been subjectively through it because we were born, that right before you're ready to have birth, you go through something called transition. And transition is, first you're going through contractions, you're thinking, okay, something's coming, I'll breathe through it, and then all of a sudden there is this force, this new life that has its insistence to arrive, takes over. That transition is like, whoa, it's time. I need to surrender. I need to go through this. I need to release the old. I can't fight it, but it is a process that I cannot force either. We are in new earth birth transition right now, where we are being asked to change the way we are living, and that ask is showing up in the changes going on in us. So I want to explain them a little bit more so that you understand them and that you're not scared. And I especially am being guided by the emissaries of the third ray. There's incredibly loving forces that just, I want to start out, want to kind of blanket you and hug you and reassure you and say, it's going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. Even if the worst is happening in the third dimension, because we are spiritual beings and we are moving back to that consciousness, we're all going to be okay. And that is an important thing to start with, is to recognize. And this is something when you go through any kind of a birth experience, there's a fear that my life is going to change forever. There is this new life force coming in, and my old familiar, basically unconscious life, I didn't really think that much about my responsibilities, about my creativity, about my intentions, about my connection to the whole. The new earth birth is really waking those elements up in us. We are beginning to recognize I can't just be concerned with my own experience. Not that there's something wrong with that. Of course you need to be concerned with your own experience, because that's all you have is your own experience. But what is giving way is the idea that it doesn't affect others, because it does. And even more, let's give way to the idea that any positive changes I go through will have a hugely positive influence, a contributing influence to those in my life, to those in my world, to those I'm around, because one of the basic tenets of the fifth dimension, the new earth, is that we have this sudden aha that I'm not alone. I am connected to humanity. I am part of it. Whether I feel intimately and personally connected, maybe not in the past, but I might start awakening to that feeling now. So I'm going to discuss some more changes that you might be going through or more experiences and give you some guidelines from the spirit guides, from the spirit world, from your own higher self spirit world, because it's all part of it, that will make this transition into the new earth birth of you easier. So one of the things you might notice that might be scary is that maybe things that were important to you before simply aren't, and maybe, this is the scariest of them all, you may suddenly feel like, I don't want to do anything I'm doing in my life anymore. I want to change everything. And yeah, that is a signal that maybe part of the new earth in you, your new 3D, your new 5D self, is starting to communicate to you that I want a different kind of life. So to the ego, that's like, well, what other life is there? This is all I know. This job, this group of friends, these thoughts. But the 5D you is this higher, fully evolved expression of you that is just beautiful and clear and creative and powerful. So you want to get to know that 5D you by not fighting the suggestions that start to come up, the ahas and the thoughts and the urges and the impulses. For example, if you've suddenly had the impulse, I absolutely need to change my life. I need to simplify. That might be a very big clue. 5D doesn't need a lot of stuff. It likes to live simply because we are becoming light beings. We're not grounded so much in the earth. So you may feel like my life is too complicated, and you might start thinking, how can I simplify it? First, you want to think about the things that complicate your thinking, the things you fight, you struggle with, you're unhappy with, that bring you down, and realize you can choose to say no to those things. It might be participating in a group of people that might still resonate with consciousness that you truly don't relate to anymore. They might be negative, they might be judgmental, they might be really polarizing, we're right, they're wrong, and you may all of a sudden feel like, I just can't participate. It's too heavy. It's too heavy. That's the feeling you're going to feel, like this is too heavy. Like my job and what I'm doing is too heavy. You felt that? Even how you treat your body, all of a sudden what you're doing just day to day might feel like this is too heavy. For example, maybe what you're eating and drinking, I've mentioned that before, it's too heavy. It leaves me feeling heavy. Maybe you'll just want to eat less, drink more water, more plants, just keep it simple. Maybe just not be so elaborate. That could be a sign. The other thing that's going to really come up for you is that you're going to become aware, and this is a big one and one I want to really focus on today. Any old wounding or unprocessed or undisowned, undealt with emotional stuff from the past might come flaring up. Like you might find out, you might one day just feel like, I am so angry about maybe the way I was raised, or maybe I'm so angry with a breakup, or I am so angry with a disappointing friendship. And it could shock you because you think, wait a minute, I've processed this. I went to therapy. I did my plant journey medicine. I did it all. Why is this not going away? Well, it's just the final remnants from the subconscious mind. So what you want to do in these waves come up and you really have a strong, still charge on something, I really encourage you to journal it, to sit down and start doing something called automatic writing. This is an intuitive bridge to the fifth dimension, to your 5D self, and you can start having a conversation. You can start with saying, hey, higher self, hey, 5D self, hey, spirit guides, what is this? I don't want to be stuck anymore. I don't want to feel victimized anymore. I don't want to be angry anymore. I want to forgive myself. I don't want to be stuck and resentful and feeling unloved or abandoned. So you can actually use the tool of automatic writing. What you do with that is you just get grounded and you place a piece of paper in front of you or a journal. You can also do it on a computer, but I find that when you do it on a computer, unless you're really good at typing, you tend to be in your head. If you can type without really looking at the keys, that works well as too, or you just write and you have a conversation with your new earth self and say, pull me up, pull me out of this mess, and let that new earth self, that higher frequency divine self, give you guidance. For example, you can ask very specific things such as, why am I still angry? Or what do I have to learn here? That's a good one that I can learn so I can let this go. How can I open my heart again if I have been wounded? Because 5D is open-hearted. 5D, the 5 dimension, the new earth you, lives with their available heart. So this is another way. Now, if you don't want to write, which some people don't, I've been teaching for a long time, and I have been saying, write it down forever. And I've been observing forever that very few people write it down. That the other thing we can do is use our new technology, get your smartphone, and record it like you're actually conversing with your 5D self, your higher self, and your spirit guides who are helping pull you into this lighter light being frequency. Now, what's required on your part is the desire to elevate and understand. You will know what you want to know. So if you really are tired of this heaviness, this dread, this hurt, this anger, this fear, then you can use this tool either doing automatic writing or automatic conversation with your guides and higher self. Now, let me just share with you that your ego is going to go, what a bunch of crap that is. You're just making it up. But I wrote in my very first book I ever wrote, The Psychic Pathway, that making it up is actually going to the imagination, which is a portal to your 5D higher self, your expanded divine self. So that's not a dismissive statement. That's an understanding of how to get there. Be curious. What if I talk to my higher self directly and my spirit guides, and I wrote something down? I wonder what I would learn. So that's one thing. The other next step in getting into this 5D self is to actually write down or say out loud all the things you would do if you weren't afraid. All the things. If I weren't afraid, I'd sell everything I own and I'd buy a little camper van and just live in nature. If I weren't afraid, I'd actually tell the people that I love them. If I weren't afraid, I would speak up and share how I feel from the heart and not make anybody else wrong. If I weren't afraid, I'd actually give my art or my writing or my other creative ambitions a chance. And how about this one? If I weren't afraid, I'd actually listen to my intuition and I'd embrace it as the best part of me. And I would follow what my guidance says without fear and control and making it all so weirdo woo-woo that I have to create a big drama. If I weren't afraid, I'd just say, yeah, going with what I feel, and I'm going to trust that it works for me. So the way to work with this, if you ever find yourself having dread, anxiety, fear, anger, rage, irrational moodiness, rational moodiness for that matter, sit down, get centered, and close your eyes and ask yourself out loud, scan your body and say, what am I afraid of right now? Where in my body is that fear trying to come out? It's part of this releasing and this busting out of the third dimension and into and being pulled up into the fifth dimension, that this fear has to kind of unmesh. It's like all meshed in there. We got to just pull it apart. You don't even have to do anything about that fear. Just acknowledge it. Simply acknowledging it starts to let it go. You will feel it. But I also want you to start feeling your intuitive self, your intuitive psychic skills kicking in. Stop fighting them. For example, if you get a feeling about someone and it just kind of shows up in your consciousness, if it just sort of drops into your consciousness, recognize and accept that as I'm being informed by my higher self. I am being helped by my spirit guides. And I'm going to believe this information. I'm going to at least accept it. I'm going to say yes to this. So if I get the hit to maybe apply for that job or check out moving to that state or say hello to that person over there that you're not really that familiar with, or change directions. Don't take that particular trip today. Go on another day. You're going to get these droplets of guidance. You're not necessarily going to get barreled over because that's just too much. It's too heavy. So listen to those little things and begin to acknowledge them out loud. Begin to say, yes, I am going to listen to this. Because part of the 5D or the higher dimension of us is that we have much more than 5 senses. We have a 6th sense. We have a 7th sense. We have manifesting senses. We are energetic beings. And I know it's a lot to take on, but we're doing it. And just don't fight it. We don't have to mentally control it as much as we have to agree and allow. So begin to let yourself be helped. Begin to trust that help is coming from your divine self, from your spirit guides, from your helpers, from the light beings like the emissaries of the third ray, and that you are demonstrating your light being divine makeup. You're demonstrating and you are expressing who you actually are designed to be. So that's a lot of information, but just to recap, we are in new earth births. We are in transition time. We are moving into a new type of self. We are moving from a self that is not so earth-based and is more energy-based. So doesn't it just make sense that your energy and how you run your energy is going to change? You might need just less food, more water, more daylight, more walking. That's part of this energy-based. We get the bright idea to gather solar panels for energy. Well, your own body's a solar panel. So you can go out and be in the light. But you could also create light from within. And that light has a lot to do with, I'm going to accept that I am a light being, that I am not some polluted, broken, victimized, unlovable entity. That was an interesting illusion, and it lasted a long time, but I'm over it. I'm at least going to be curious that there is this new me birthing that's a lot lighter and a lot happier and a lot more loved and helped and supported. Try the automatic writing and try the conversations with your guides. And if your ego says you're making it up, say, yeah, isn't that smart of me? Thanks for noticing. Because I'm going through the portal of my imagination into the divine realm. It's imagination, not hallucination. So don't confuse the two. And then the other thing is to begin to say yes to your intuition instead of fight it like mad. Just say, I'll consider it. Yeah, maybe that's a really good idea. Maybe completely changing the way my life is set up is a really good idea. Maybe the people I'm around are too heavy. Maybe the location where I'm living is not a vibrational match. Maybe I'm not going to be afraid of change, and maybe I don't need to sit and let it happen to me, which is just feels like a horrible intrusion, and instead I'm going to choose it. I'm going to listen. I'm not going to blatantly deny it. La, 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 I can't hear you. I'm going to say I'm listening. That is the biggest shift, is that I'm listening. But what are you listening to? First and foremost, let me remind you, what you are listening to is the birthing of the new you. There is a new you, just like who you were when you were 15 years old or 10 years old is not who you are today. Who you are becoming is going to leave a lot of this self behind as well. It'll take good parts. It'll take your creativity, your open heart, your love, your spontaneity, your generosity, your connection. It'll take that part, your beauty, your beautiful creations, but we're letting the old go. Now think about transition. We are transitioning, and there is a new you coming in. You'll like the new you. You're actually going to be quite impressed with the new you. So the old you's going, well, where am I going? Well, you're going back to the light. You are dissolving, and you are releasing, and you are going back to source. Because the spirit in us is energy, and energy never dies, just changes. So again, if you're new to my channel, I'm really glad you were guided here. I really feel that this is a portal that we can all work together to move toward. If you need more support, of course, I have a lot of books, and Soul Lessons and Soul Purpose is one of them, as well as my book, The Psychic Pathway, which I wrote 25 years ago, which is the basic tools for psychic expression that are so grounded, so sensible, and they work. The thing is to begin to open your imagination. Yes, ego, your imagination. And begin to imagine that there is a you coming through that always intended to, and it's time. And that you can start talking to that new you, listening, being open, being curious, being available. And that new you is going to take care of you and take care of us. The new light us, the new earth us, is a beautiful experience. I hope you subscribe. I hope you stay together. If you need more support, you can also join my Good Vibe Tribe, which is a community where we check in every single day so you never feel alone. I'm not saying this process is easy. I've seen some comments, and I appreciate all of your comments, and please share more. Oh, it's not this easy. Well, I've never said it was easy. But what I will say is leaning into the new you and leaning into that I am not this old, angry ego self. And if it's coming up because my guides are trying to help me get rid of it and release myself from that, it is easier than resisting. So let's not resist anymore. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with more. I mean, this is a long process, but it can be an exciting, even beautiful one, despite what we're seeing and what has to go up in smoke and what has to be sacrificed of the old. It's just the way evolution works. But we're evolving very quickly. Lots and lots of love from me, lots of love from the emissaries of the third way. Please leave your comments and share with me if these tools are working for you, or if you have been intuitively guided to try some of your own that we can learn from. That would be so exciting. All my love.